Faith is the foundation for success. True Christians understand the power of this message. Stick around until the end to see how faith can lead you to victory. Life is full of challenges, and in our journey to success, we often find ourselves confronted by obstacles that seem insurmountable. But what if I told you that the key to overcoming these challenges doesn't lie solely in talent, hard work, or luck? What if the real foundation for success is something much deeper, something that carries us through the toughest moments and leads us toward victory? That foundation is faith. Faith is not just a belief system. It is a guiding force that shapes the way we view the world, make decisions, and persevere when things get tough. Faith is the compass that directs us even when we can't see the way ahead. Faith in God and His timing and in His plan for our lives is what keeps us grounded, focused, and motivated when everything around us seems chaotic or uncertain. When we place our trust in God, we acknowledge that we are not in control of everything. We may have the drive to work hard, the intelligence to make wise decisions, and the ability to take risks. But ultimately, we must recognize that it is God who gives us the strength to continue, the wisdom to learn, and the grace to grow. Every success, every blessing, every opportunity is a gift from God. And when we keep this in mind, it humbles us and fuels us to give our very best in everything we do. One of the most powerful truths about faith is that it prepares us for the trials we will face. It doesn't promise an easy road or an instant solution to our problems, but it assures us that we are not walking this path alone. Prayer becomes our direct line to God, our chance to express our gratitude, seek guidance, and find peace amidst the storms. When we commit our work, our dreams, and our struggles to God through prayer, we invite Him to be a part of every step of our journey. And in turn, we begin to see how He moves in ways we could never have imagined. In moments of doubt or fear, faith helps us stand firm. We understand that failure is not the end, but rather a lesson that leads to growth. Faith teaches us setbacks are simply setups for something greater. No matter how many times we fall, we rise again because God gives us the strength to do so. It is in these moments of struggle that we often experience the most profound growth, not just in our careers, but in our trust. The greatest thing faith provides is perspective. When we face challenges, it's easy to become consumed by them. But when we remind ourselves of the bigger picture, when we trust that God's plan is greater than our own limited view of things, our perspective shifts. We understand that the difficulties we face are part of a divine purpose, even when they don't make sense at the time. With faith, we can look beyond the immediate struggle and trust that God is working things out for our good, even when we can't see it yet. As we walk through life, it's important to remember that success is not solely measured by external accomplishments, but by the peace and fulfillment we find in aligning ourselves with God's will. It's about knowing that we are doing our best and trusting that God will provide what we need when the time is right. This trust frees us from the pressure of constant worry and allows us to enjoy the journey, no matter where it leads. So, I encourage you today to put God first in everything you do. Make your faith the foundation on which you build your life, your dreams, and your success. Trust that He will guide you, strengthen you, and bless you along the way. Keep Him at the center of your work, your relationships, and your personal growth. And know that as long as you keep Him first, you are never truly alone on your journey. Every success you achieve is not by your own strength, but by the grace of God. Faith is the foundation for success. Faith is not just a belief system. It is a powerful foundation that shapes every aspect of our lives, guiding us through difficult moments and helping us achieve success. In today's world, we are constantly encouraged to rely on our own abilities, work hard, and push forward no matter what. While those things are important, they often fall short if we do not have faith as the cornerstone of our journey. Faith, particularly in God, gives us the strength to navigate challenges, helps us stay grounded when success seems distant, and ensures that we remain focused on the bigger picture. When we place our faith in something greater than ourselves, we acknowledge that we are not in control of everything. Yes, we can work hard, make smart decisions, and strive to achieve our goals, but ultimately it is God who provides us with the strength, the wisdom, and the opportunities we need to succeed. Faith reminds us that everything we achieve, every door that opens, and every victory we experience is ultimately a gift from God. Recognizing this humbles us and reminds us that we are not in this alone. God's presence is the force that sustains us, and when we rely on Him, we are more equipped to face whatever comes our way. Faith also provides us with a deep sense of purpose. In times when the road ahead is unclear or when we feel uncertain about our direction, faith acts as a compass that points us toward what truly matters. We may have dreams and ambitions, but without faith, we risk losing sight of why we are pursuing them in the first place. Faith helps us keep our focus on what is important, our values, our relationships, and our impact on the world around us, while also reminding us to be patient as we await the fulfillment of God's plan for us. Success then becomes not just a personal achievement, but a reflection of the greater purpose for which we were created. In the midst of challenges, faith becomes a powerful tool for resilience. Life is full of obstacles that can sometimes feel overwhelming, and without a sense of purpose or a reason to push forward, it is easy to give up. Faith, however, helps us to persevere. It teaches us that setbacks and struggles are not the end, but a part of God's greater plan. When we face hardships, faith gives us the strength to keep moving forward, trusting that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything for our good. Even when things don't go as planned, or when failure seems imminent, faith reminds us that there is always something to learn and that we are never alone in our journey. One of the most powerful aspects of faith is its ability to shift our perspective. Without faith, challenges can feel insurmountable, and it's easy to fall into a mindset of defeat. But when we trust that God is in control, we begin to see problems as opportunities rather than barriers. Faith helps us understand that adversity is often a stepping stone towards something greater. It teaches us that our struggles are not in vain, but are part of our personal growth and development. When we trust in God, we learn to see setbacks as part of His process, shaping us into stronger, more capable individuals. Moreover, faith strengthens our character. Success that is built solely on personal ambition and effort can often lead to pride or arrogance. But when faith is the foundation, it fosters humility and gratitude. Faith teaches us that our talents and achievements are not for our own glory, but for a higher purpose. This shift in perspective ensures that success doesn't corrupt us, but rather motivates us to give back, help others, and use our influence for good. Faith nurtures the qualities of kindness, compassion, and generosity, which are essential for long-term success that is meaningful and fulfilling. Faith also encourages us to trust in God's timing. It reminds us that success does not always come when we expect it, and that things may not always unfold according to our plans. Sometimes we may feel like we are working hard and doing everything right, but progress seems slow or non-existent. In these moments, faith teaches us patience. It assures us that God's timing is perfect and that what we need will come when we are ready for it. This understanding alleviates the pressure we often place on ourselves to achieve everything quickly, allowing us to rest in the knowledge that God is in control. Ultimately, faith is what empowers us to rise above difficulties, to embrace the challenges that come our way, and to keep our hearts and minds focused on our purpose. When we choose to put God first in everything we do, we align ourselves with the source of infinite wisdom and care. This connection gives us the courage to face life's trials, the strength to persevere, and the humility to recognize that our success is not solely the result of our own efforts, but the grace of God working through us. Faith is the foundation that allows us to build a life that is not only successful, but meaningful and aligned with the divine purpose for which we were created. The power of prayer and trusting God's timing. Prayer is one of the most powerful tools available to us in life, especially when it comes to navigating difficult situations and trusting in God's perfect timing. It is through prayer that we communicate with God, seek His guidance, express our gratitude, and release our anxieties. When we understand the significance of prayer and how to trust God's timing, we begin to experience a deeper sense of peace and confidence, even in the midst of uncertainty. There's immense power in prayer because it aligns our hearts with God's will. Prayer allows us to bring our desires, fears, and concerns before God, acknowledging that He is the source of all wisdom, guidance, and strength. It is through prayer that we invite God into our lives, asking for His direction and wisdom, but also surrendering our own plans and expectations. Often in times of struggle, or when things are not going the way we hope, prayer becomes the place where we find comfort, clarity, and a renewed sense of purpose. Through prayer, we submit our worries and frustrations to God, trusting that He knows what is best for us. One of the greatest aspects of prayer is that it encourages us to pause and reflect. In a world that moves at an incredibly fast pace, it's easy to become overwhelmed and anxious about what the future holds. We can get consumed by the demands of our daily lives and start to feel like we need to have everything figured out. Prayer provides a moment of stillness, allowing us to step away from the noise and connect with God. In these quiet moments, we are reminded that we don't have to have all the answers or control every outcome. God is in control, and prayer helps us release the pressure we often put on ourselves to have everything work out according to our timeline. But trusting God's timing is just as important as the act of prayer itself. Sometimes when we pray for something, we expect immediate results. We want our prayers to be answered on our terms, in the way we envision and within our time frame. However, trusting in God's timing means recognizing that God's plan for us is far greater and wiser than anything we can imagine. He sees the bigger picture, while we only see a small part of it. God's timing is always perfect, even if it doesn't align with our own sense of urgency or expectations. There will be times when we ask for something and don't receive an immediate answer. And this is where trusting God's timing becomes essential. It's easy to become discouraged when things don't unfold as quickly as we hoped. But it's important to remember that delays are not denials. Sometimes God's answer is not no, but not yet. Trusting His timing means believing that He is working behind the scenes, preparing the right moment for things to fall into place. God's timing may not always make sense to us, but we can trust that His delays are often for our growth, protection, and ultimate good. The act of trusting in God's timing also calls for patience and surrender. It requires us to let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives and embrace the uncertainty that comes with trusting in God. This can be challenging, especially when we feel like we are waiting for something that seems urgent or essential to our happiness. However, patience is a key part of growing in faith. When we trust that God's plan is unfolding in its own time, we free ourselves from the stress and frustration of trying to force things to happen before they are meant to. Moreover, prayer helps us to stay aligned with God's will. We may pray for specific outcomes or desires, but through prayer, we also open our hearts to God's direction. It's in these moments of prayer that we are able to let go of our personal agendas and align ourselves with what God has for us. As we spend time in prayer and reflect on His guidance, we begin to recognize that sometimes the path we desire may not be the best path for us. Trusting God's timing means having the faith to walk in the direction He leads, even if it requires patience, sacrifice, or a detour. There are many examples in the Bible of individuals who prayed fervently and trusted in God's timing. The story of Abraham and Sarah, for example, is a testament to how God's promises come to fruition at the right time. Abraham was promised a son, yet he had to wait for many years before the promise was fulfilled. Despite the delay, Abraham trusted in God's timing and believed in his faithfulness. Ultimately, God delivered on his promise in the perfect moment, showing that his timing is always worth waiting for. Finally, prayer and trusting in God's timing are intertwined in a way that deepens our faith and strengthens our relationship with God. Prayer is the way we communicate with God, and through it, we cultivate a spirit of trust and surrender. Trusting his timing doesn't mean we stop praying or stop taking action, but it means that we trust that God is with us every step of the way, guiding us and providing for us in ways that we may not always understand. In times of waiting, prayer becomes our anchors, keeping us rooted in faith while we trust that God is working things out in his perfect timing. When we embrace the power of prayer and trust in God's timing, we find peace, comfort, and a renewed sense of hope. We begin to see that the waiting periods, the delays, and the unanswered prayers are not signs of failure, but opportunities for growth and preparation. Ultimately, prayer and trust in God's timing will lead us to a place of fulfillment, peace, and success that aligns with his divine plan for our lives. Perspective through faith. Perspective through faith is one of the most transformative aspects of the human experience. Life, with all its ups and downs, presents countless challenges that can often feel overwhelming. Yet, when we view these challenges through the lens of faith, our perspective shifts. What may once seem like an insurmountable obstacle can become an opportunity for growth, learning, and deeper connection with our purpose. Faith allows us to see the bigger picture and trust that every step we take, no matter how difficult, is part of a greater plan. When we face difficulties, it's natural to feel discouraged or frustrated. It's easy to become so focused on the problem that we lose sight of the lessons it may bring. Without faith, our vision is limited. We often see only what's immediately in front of us: struggles, disappointments, failures, and pain. But faith offers us the ability to step back, breathe, and remember that there's more to life than just the present moment. We are part of something much bigger than ourselves, and the challenges we encounter are often part of the process of growth and development. Faith allows us to trust that what we are going through is not in vain. Whether it's a personal setback, a loss, a failure, or even a weed of waiting, we can rest assured that it is all part of God's plan for our lives. We may not understand why things are happening the way they are, but faith gives us the strength to believe that there is a purpose behind every season of life. Instead of viewing our struggles as obstacles, we begin to see them as stepping stones that are preparing us for something greater. This shift in perspective is powerful as it helps us keep moving forward even when the road ahead seems unclear. One of the most profound ways faith changes our perspective is by helping us see the potential for growth in every situation. When we face hardship, faith teaches us that it's not about avoiding pain or discomfort, but about embracing it as part of our journey. Challenges force us to stretch beyond our comfort zones, to build resilience, and to rely on strength we may not have known we had. Without faith, we might see difficulties as roadblocks, but with faith, we recognize them as opportunities to develop patience, perseverance, and character. These are qualities that in the end will serve us far beyond the immediate difficulty. Moreover, faith helps us focus on the long-term picture instead of becoming consumed with immediate results. Our society often values instant gratification, and it's easy to become frustrated when things don't happen as quickly as we want them to. However, faith teaches us the importance of patience. It helps us understand that good things take time, and that the journey is just as valuable as the destination. When we place our trust in God's timing, we can let go of the anxiety that comes from trying to control every detail, and knowledge in the knowledge that everything is unfolding as it should. Another significant aspect of perspective through faith is the way it helps us see beyond ourselves. We often get caught up in our own lives, focusing on our personal struggles, dreams, and desires. While it's natural to have our own ambitions, faith reminds us that life is not just about us. It's about how we contribute to the greater good, how we show love and kindness to others, and how we use our gifts to make a positive impact. When we approach life through the lens of faith, we begin to understand that our challenges are not only shaping us, but are also preparing us to serve and help others in ways we might not yet fully comprehend. Faith also gives us the ability to forgive and let go of past hurts. Life is full of disappointments, betrayals, and misunderstandings. Without faith, it's easy to hold on to anger or resentment, which can weigh us down and cloud our ability to move forward. But when we choose to view life through the lens of faith, we are reminded that forgiveness is an essential part of healing and personal growth. By forgiving others, we free ourselves from the burden of bitterness and open ourselves up to the peace that comes from letting go of past hurts. Ultimately, perspective through faith is about seeing life with new eyes that trust in God's plan, believe in the power of growth through hardship, and are willing to let go of our need for control. It's about understanding that everything we go through is part of a much larger story, one that God is writing in our lives. When we trust in His plan, we can face each challenge with confidence, knowing that it is not an obstacle, but a lesson that will ultimately bring us closer to the person we are meant to become. When we adopt this perspective, we begin to experience a sense of peace that transcends our circumstances. No matter what life throws our way, we know that God is with us, guiding us and using every moment for our good. This perspective allows us to navigate life with a sense of hope and joy, and that our struggles are not meaningless, but part of the greater purpose God has designed for us. And in that trust, we find not only strength, but also the courage to keep moving forward, no matter how challenging the road may seem. Through faith, we can truly see the beauty in every moment, knowing that we are never walking alone.